Shabbat Shalom and welcome to the Light to the Nations channel. In this video, I want to share some updates on the part number 2 of the calendar study about the stars on the Shemaim. When I was checking the video that I was sharing with you, I realized that I forgot to share an important information at the end of the video with you about the constellations. That I want to share with you in this video. I think it's important because it's a way to see how amazing is the clock in the Shemaim, how YaHuWaH is teaching us and helping us to understand how this clock works and how his calendar works, no matter where we are in his earth. So we will see this on the using Stellarium by the end of this video. So it's important that to share this information with you. And second thing that I want to update you is that based on some comments that I received in the first videos that I was sharing with you, I started to study about the other months, the other Hodeshim, and how they are connected or related to the stars. And I remember this comment was about the constellation of Virgo. And during the process, I was studying in parallel about the Roshit Katsir and the harvest. And I was able to see something very interesting, something very nice that I want to share with you. I have not been able to complete the entire study about how the other months are connected to, or the other tribes of Israel are connected to the other constellation. I hope to do it in one moment, but at least we have a second witness with what we are going to see, and this is related to the second month, and we will see it as well using a Stellarium. And the third thing that I wanted to share with you is that some people have been asking me for a material in order to start studying about the study about the stars, or begin the study about the stars, and because they are realizing about the importance to recognize the constellation of the Shemaim and so on. So I want to share with you some books that I have been using. The first one is this, The Gospel in the Stars. This is a very nice book. The author here is telling us how the good news is over there in the Shemaim. It's how YaHuWaH is giving us his good news through the constellations, through the stars. So the first time that I received this book was from my dad. He gave it to me around 3-4 years ago, and I didn't pay attention at that time. I just kept it in a safe place, and I didn't read it at the time. But when I was starting the study of the calendar, I took it back and started to read it, and it was so amazing to see how all the constellations are connected to the good news. And I think it's a place in the Tehillim that is talking about how the stars are bringing the good news and speaking about the wonders of YaHuWaH in silence, without any voice. So using this book, you are going to be able to understand this message and how it's connected to the different constellation on the Shemaim. My dad took this book, I don't know, between 20 or 30 years ago, and he's having it from that time. So even that little detail for me is amazing, because he knows how YaHuWaH knows how to do things. Even 30 years ago, he put this book on my house, and after 30 years after, I took it, and it was helping me to understand even more about the stars. So that's the way he works. So this is the first book I wanted to share with you. Second one is this one, The Future is in the Stars, You know, the topic is exactly the same thing, the same one that the other book, The Gospel in the Star, is just to understand how the gospel, the Besorah, the good news, we can understand it, we can receive it with the testimony of the star and the Shamayim. You know, and we know the laws of the Shamayim and the luminaries are not going to change until eternity. We saw this in the previous videos. So it's basically the place that YaHuWaH put his Besorah, his good news, for us to see it. You know, no matter that this is the similar information, it's good to have a second point of view. And actually, the author here is providing other informations. For example, he's talking about the connection between the stars and the Great Pyramid of Giza. And no matter this is coming from Egypt, it's based on the archaeological finding in Egypt or Mizraim. We know that we need to use all resources, all inputs in order to search for the truth of YaHuWaH. And as I have been telling you, everything we need to test it under the light of the Devar of YaHuWaH, because the Devar of YaHuWaH is our source of truth. So when I read this book and I came to this part of the Great Pyramid of Giza, it's in the chapter 13. I remember that I heard about this in one of the videos of Rob Skiva, and how this pyramid could be connected to some of the words, I think, in the book of Yeshayahu, Isaiah, and how this could be connected to the end times as well. So important information. If you have the chance, take a look on this. It can help you out on the studies of the stars. And the third book I have is this one. This is the Witness of the Stars. Again, the same topic, the same discussion about the gospel and the good news in the Shamayim. I haven't read this book entirely yet, but there's something that I saw here that is quite amazing, because it's something that we discussed on the part 2 when we were discussing about the tribes of Israel and the connection with the constellation, and it's over here. Sorry, it's there. So the author here is talking about the camping pattern of Israel in the wilderness and how this is connected to the stars. So important information. As I told you, I haven't read this book completely yet, but I think it's important information to use it. So those are the 3 books that I have so far, that I have been using for the studies. And you know, more than use it for the studies, a complementary information just to understand the constellations and how they work. Additionally to that, some people have been asking me how to recognize the constellation in the Shamayim, because for us that we live in the city, it's quite difficult to learn all of this, because it's knowledge that is not being taught by nobody, but anybody on schools or things like that. So even that is amazing, you know, because these are so important information, because it's part of the nature, it's part of the creation, and we are not getting this information, and that could be for a reason, you know. This is a way to confuse us and to deceive us to the truth of YaHuWaH. So, you know, one of the things that I discovered during my journey is this tool. It's called a Planisphere. You can buy this online, or you can find a place, some store where to buy it. And this tool, it's helping us to discover the different stars on the night sky, depending on the date according to the Gregorian calendar. So, for example, here you have in this place, you have the different dates and the months, and the inner part you have the time, the hours. So how does it work? Is that you need to find the specific hour that you want to see the sky. For example, here that in Mexico City is 1:30. So let's assume that it's 1 p.m. So, and today is the 6th of May. So how to use it? You just look for the date of May. Let me put it closer for you. And this is, and we need to find the 1 p.m. 1 p.m. is this one. So, and there you see is the 6th of May. For sure it's daylight, so light time I'm not gonna see the stars, but this is just for the telling you how to use this one. So as soon as you have it, you will see in this window all the different stars that I should be able to see on the sky. So you see, let me put it closer for you. So there you have all the stars and how to identify them on the Shamayim. And these are the points on the earth: the south, the east, and the west. So just to properly point this tool to the north and to try to identify the stars on the Shamayim. This is the planisphere, so you can take a look on the online and see where to find it. And in the back side you have the instructions and how to use it. Important information is that there are two versions. One for the southern hemisphere, that since I live in the southern hemisphere, that's why I have this one. There's another one for the northern hemisphere, so you need to buy the one, in case you are going to do it, the one according to the place you live. Okay. Okay, that's one tool. The second tool, and this has been even more useful for me than this one, is Stellarium. Using Stellarium is very simple. You can install it in your laptop, and you can play with the places depending where you are in the moment you are using the tool, and also you can play with the times. So it's just a matter to open Stellarium, take your laptop, and go into the backyard or going to outdoors and check the sky during the night. And it's going to be much easier in order to recognize the stars on the constellation, because Stellarium is providing a more real representation of the Shamayim during the night. Okay, so my recommendation for you: install Stellarium and try to use it in order to identify the stars on the Shamayim. One tip that I can tell you is that currently in these days, if you look to the east during the evening when it's getting more dark, we're close to the night basically, you will see in the east sky two stars, two bright stars, and they are forming almost an horizontal line. So basically one is on the right, the other one is on the left. The brighter star is Jupiter, okay, and the second star that is not that bright is Spica. Spica is one of the most important stars in the constellation of Virgo, and somehow this is related to the movement of Jupiter. Jupiter is doing a movement inside the constellation of Virgo, and this is related to the sign we will see on September 23, that it could be the fulfillment of the sign of the Shamayim that we see in Revelation 12. So if you want to start looking in the stars, go outside during the evening when it's getting dark. Look to the east and check these two stars. The brighter one is Jupiter, and the other one is Spica. And the other one that you can see is during the morning, before the sun rises. You will see a very bright star on the east as well, and this is Venus. Also, this can help you in order to identify the other star on the Shamayim and the constellation. And one additional point that is very important to share for us that we don't know about the stars. Constellation use a big portion of space on the Shamayim. The constellations are not small, they are quite big. So don't expect that you are going to see a small piece of stars that are going to be the constellation. It's going to be a very big constellation, a very big figure on the Shamayim, because they're using a huge portion of the Shamayim. So take that in consideration, because it's going to be much easier for you to discover and understand and recognize the constellation and the stars. Okay, that's from the question that I have received. So let's move on to what I missed, what I forgot to share with you on the last video. So let me share the screen with you, and this is the study of the stars. So let me go to this was the last slide that we reviewed last time, where we saw the amazing connection between the tribe of Israel and the stars according to the book of Hanoch. Okay, we saw how the tribe were camping divided in 4 areas, and we see that the year is divided in 4 seasons, how the Hanoch is talking about 4 heads or 4 leaders of stars, and Israel, they have 4 heads or leaders of tribes. And also we saw how the 4 heads, according to Hanoch, are the first one to appear according to their seasons and their months. And we saw amazingly how the tribes and their 4 heads were leading the tribes in order to present the offerings, in order to march when they were going to another place. Okay, and we saw also the same wordings, even for the head of thousands in the case of the stars, and the same wording for the leaders, the heads of the tribes of Israel. And we saw over in that study that how the first one to lead the procession, to lead the marching, and to lead the offerings was YaHuWaH. And we saw that according to entire scripture, throughout the scripture, that YaHuWaH is the lion. And if we see the connection between the tribes and the constellation, if YaHuWaH is the lion, what's the constellation of the lion? This is the constellation of Leo. Okay, so what we saw at that time on the Stellarium, I was showing you the night sky on Santiago on the day of the equinox. This was the March 21st. So at the moment of the sunset, we saw that the first constellation to appear was the constellation of Leo, in the same amazing harmony, in the same amazing way that we saw the tribes of Israel were camping, and we see this. We see the connection with the stars on the Shamayim. But the part that I forgot to share with you is that, it was in Santiago, but you can see exactly the same thing independently where you are on the earth. So here you have the same information, looking at from Sydney, Australia, on the same day, the 21st of March of this year. At the same moment of the day was during the evening, the sun was already set, and you see exactly the same. You see Leo, the first constellation to appear in the Shamayim. And we see exactly the same thing from Dallas on the 21st of March. For sure, the stars are appearing here in the sky in the opposite way, in a different way. If you don't understand that, my invitation is that you can take a look on the videos about the flat earth. Rob Skiva have been sharing with all of us a lot of information about this, so go there or to other places in order to understand why the stars are being seen in the different position, depending if you are in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. But the point here, the important thing is that we see in the same day, in exactly the same moment of the day, on the evening, we see also in Dallas that the Leo is the first one to appear in the Shamayim. Okay, and the 4th place is an important place, is Jerusalem, the same day, the same moment of the day, on the evening, and we see exactly the same thing over here. So this is quite amazing. This is a confirmation that, the calendar of YaHuWaH is quite simple, and independently where we are on the earth, it's just take us to look up on the Shamayim, to see the stars, to see the moon, to see the sun, in order to understand when on his calendar we are, which day of the calendar we are. And you know, I told you that the stars are not bringing us the specific day to confirm when is the beginning of the year, but they are telling us when we start seeing the constellation of Leo appearing on the Shaman on the east, is because we have the confirmation that the new year is approaching. And as we see here at the moment of the equinox, we see the entire constellation of Leo appearing on the Shaman. So this is amazing how the stars are connected and they are synchronized with the sun, and also we will see in another part of this study are synchronized with the moon. So let me share with you also Stellarium now, because I want to do exactly the same exercise that we did. For example, this is in Auckland. This is New Zealand, and we see exactly the same thing. Let me go here, and we see the constellation there, and the first stars to appear in the Shaman are the constellation of Leo. If we go to another place, I don't know, let's look for Madrid. Okay, so if we go to another place on the earth, let's look for Madrid, for example, in Spain. We will see what is the result. So let's go to the moment of the evening, of the sunset, and we see the first constellation to appear on the Shaman is the constellation of Leo. So let's go to another place. For example, let's go to Russia, Moscow. So again, we see exactly the same thing. Let me go before this. And we see that the first constellation to appear on the Shaman in exactly the same day is the constellation of Leo. So, you know, this is the amazing thing on the calendar of YaHuWaH, that no matter where we are on the earth, it's required from us only to look up, to check the constellation, to know the stars, in order to understand the calendar of YaHuWaH and to know where we are in his calendar. And I have been telling you, the stars maybe are not telling us the same day where the year will begin, but through their testimony, they are telling us as soon as we see the constellation of Leo appearing on the east sky, it's because the stars are revealing us that the new year is approaching. And the important thing is that in the day of the equinox, in the same day that the sun is giving us his sign, the stars, the constellation of Leo, appear completely on the Shaman. Okay, so this is the information that I wanted to share with you. Important information to consider, because we can see how simple is the calendar of YaHuWaH. It's quite simple to follow. It's just looking to the luminaries, no matter where we are on the earth. So the last topic that I wanted to share with you is regarding the second month. And let me share the screen with you, because I want to share with you the calendar. So basically, this is the calendar that I have been creating and having sharing with you. So we know that the first month, the first day and the year started on March 22nd, and the equinox happened the day before, March 21st, as we already saw. And the important dates that I want you to keep in mind for what we are going to see now is the April 16. It was the day 26 on the first month on the calendar of YaHuWaH, This was the day when we were celebrating Roichit Katsir. Okay, so keep April 16 on mind, and keep in mind that it was the moment of Roichit Katsir. And the second day that I want you to keep in mind is the starting of the second Chodesh, the second month. This was according to the Gregorian calendar on the day of the April 21st. Okay, so keep in mind the April 16 and the April 21st for what we're gonna see just now. So basically, let's go to the dates we already talked. So if we go to April the 24th, let's see what is the witness of the star that we are looking here, and let's do it here in Moscow. So let's see what is the first constellation we see in the Shamayim, directly on the east, and we see here that this is the constellation of Virgo, the first one to appear, to rise on the east. Leo is already over here, but the first one to rise over here is the constellation of Virgo. Okay, you can see it here is Virgo. And the same thing, we're going to do exactly the same exercise with Jerusalem, just to have a second reference. Jerusalem, Israel, and we see exactly the same thing happening on the 21st of April. Okay, and the 21st of April is the first month of the second Chodesh. Okay, and we see Virgo over there. So why is this so important, and how we can connect this constellation with the second month and the Roshit Katsir? You know, I started to look into this because of some comments that I received in the first videos that I upload to the channel, and there was some person asking for the Virgo and how this is connected to calendar of YaHuWaH. At that moment I was studying about the Roshit Katsir, and you know, Roshit Katsir and Shavuot, both of them are connected because of the count of the 50 days, and both of them are related to the harvest. The harvest is starting on Roshit Katsir and is completed on Shavuot. And the first thing to harvest is the barley, and then the wheat. So in Roshit Katsir we are starting with the barley. So we saw that this happened on the April 16, and we already see that the first constellation to appear in the Shamayim is the constellation of Virgo. So what I want you to see is the following. These are the art, how people understand the different constellations. So Virgo is depicted as a woman. It's having a branch here of wheat in her hand. So why is a branch over here? Because this is a depiction of the main star of the constellation of Virgo, that is called Spica. You know, here, by the way, you see what's happening in the sky of the east. We have Jupiter and Spica together, very close to each other. Jupiter is brighter than Spica, but they are very close together. So this main star on the constellation of Virgo is the star Spica, and if you read the books that I was recommending to you, you will find that the Hebrew word for this star Spica, and actually in Arabic is a similar word, is the word semach. And semach, the translation is the branch. And we know that this word semach, the branch, is one of the several names that the scripture is revealing to us about the Mashiach. Okay, so if she's having a branch of wheat on the hand, somehow this is connected directly to the moment of the harvest. So we see amazingly here in the Shamayim how, with the appearance of the constellation of Virgo and the appearance of the main star of this constellation, that the star of Spica, is the sign, the otot on the Shamayim, that is telling us that this is the month, this is the moment to start the harvest, this is the second month, that is the month of the harvest, and also the harvest is lasting until the middle of the third month. So amazing how the shaman is teaching us how the clock on the shaman is working and is giving us important information that telling us the beginning of the second month and how this is totally and directly connected to the harvest on the earth. So this is what I wanted to share with you on this video. You know, there's so many things that we need to learn about the stars. I hope that we will have the time to do it. And you know, we need to put the trust in YaHuWaH has been telling you. He will lead us to have the entire understanding on the revolution of the stars in the same way that he has been leading us so far to understand everything that we have been sharing on these videos. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you start studying this, to use this input that I'm sharing with you to study the word of YaHuWaH and study the calendar. And I hope to upload soon the remaining parts regarding the revolution of the moon and the revolution of the sun. You know, I told you in the previous video that I'm sharing different topics in parallel as much as possible in order to help you with the light that I received in different aspects of the way, the path of YaHuWaH. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this with you. Thank you to YaHuWaH for giving us the opportunity to share this between us. And thank you as well for watching this video. So enjoy the Shabbat Shalom, and see you in the next one. Shalom.